Alright guys, Touchgrabber here, back again today. Hope you're all enjoying your Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about a number of topics, mainly focusing around the potential next year of the casting desk and the analyst desk, I guess. What is going to be employed in the CDL next season, and who is going to miss out in a way. I doubt all the casters and the analysts from last season are going to make it back into this season. They may bring in some additional talent. Of course, Activision Blizzard potentially has the overlap between the Call of Duty League and the Overwatch League, the potential of Puckett, Mr. X, some of these guys that have been in the Overwatch League that used to be in the Call of Duty League could potentially come back and help work some events as well. So probably not the same amount of people that we've seen in previous seasons are going to be required this season. Who do you think will miss out? Who would you like to miss out? We'll discuss that in the coming minutes here. There also may well have been an important announcement by now. If there has been, I'll leave it down below. This video will be recorded by the time this announcement does happen. If it does, who knows what it could be. Potentially substitutes. People are talking about maybe OpTic Gaming, Embos. We'll have to see how that goes. If that is the case, or whatever this happens to be, if it's important, we'll talk about it tomorrow, and it'll be in the pinned comment down below. So yesterday, of course, we talked about this tournament, this streamer invitational. It was, I didn't get a chance to watch it, of course, it was too late for my time zone, but from what I heard, really wasn't particularly well done, the viewership wasn't great, and then you look in the chat, we're talking about remove Skillbo's matchmaking, you know, people aren't too happy with Joe Seacott as well, so definitely maybe not the most successful event. And then you look here on the Call of Duty Gamepedia page, and, well, what you'll find is that Team Alpha with TP, Hitch, and Aiden, those are the guys that actually have player pages on CoD Gamepedia. TP's team ended up winning the tournament and the $100,000 prize pool. Of course, Hutch, Vivid, some of the guys I'm sure of these you'll be aware of, but still, that was how the tournament went down. Wanted to share with you guys a quick clip from TP's stream when he gets killed so far around a wall by a sniper rifle. Like, you can get killed around a wall, that's kind of sometimes how the game works due to lag and stuff like that, but this is kind of out of control. I haven't seen something this bad for quite a while.
I lived. Top there, red.
So moving onwards, this will become more relevant when we talk about the casters and analysts in a few minutes time, but Intel Call of Duty Chronover says what's happening in Los Angeles and shares this image. So short stream today before LA, so Apathy says that, Merk says going to LA, Maven head to LA for a few, Bose indeed heading to LA tomorrow, and T Tiny who's in LA tap in tomorrow, along with some other players I think that have been talking about. Turns out it's a CDL summit meeting. I think Scump was talking about on stream, like, yeah, is this public knowledge? Can we talk about it? Briefing everyone about next year, players, subs, and casters, etc. So Bose is going. Bose hinted he signed somewhere, so I have no clue where. So, you know, it does seem like that is indeed the case. Guerillas could be a possibility, but of course, he could be baiting here with this gorilla image, as we've seen Scraps use it in the past as well. Way back in the day when he was baiting about exactly what happened there. Quick announcement here related to the Atlanta FaZe team. They're bringing in Noisy Butters. Haven't heard of her, but they're going to be a streamer for the Atlanta FaZe team for the upcoming season. So if you guys are aware of that, then pretty interesting stuff nonetheless. Thanks to Minnesota, as always, for pointing things out to me. A couple of interesting little bits of drama, I guess, to go on before we talk about the casters and analysts. TJ says, London torching time in scrims, can't believe it. Didn't think you'd be out of bed so early, lad. Our apologies. Cap, we're on a strict regiment now. He was actually 20 minutes early. Unbelievable scenes. Scrap says, don't leave after 2 maps, just trying to get better, bro. Join the game, bro, and sent a scoreboard of everyone here. Without TJ, maybe something happened, but thought it was a little funny bit of back and forth. We'll have to see how this London team develops. Of course, we know that OpTic Gaming Los Angeles, which TJ is now on, they haven't had the best run of things right in the first couple of weeks. London, of course, have only really been able to start scrimming recently, with Rated finally managing to get his visa sorted, I think, and get over to the States for the upcoming season. And Scraps, of course, already being there, they've finally got the opportunity to properly scrim, so hopefully they will keep improving so we have a nice competitive league going forward. So let's go on to this then. I saw this on Reddit from Web Impulse, casting desk talent for the CDL. Anyone know who's going to be casting matches for the CDL once it starts? I'm also curious as to who will be on the analyst desk too. Any idea? So this is what Crone says. First of all, these are the guys that seem relatively likely to be on the stage next season. So this is what we're going to be looking at. The first two seem pretty damn straightforward. Maven and Merk seem like they should be lock-ins. We've had a lot of questions about exactly what's going on with Merk. It does seem like TP's going to be a full-time stream, or it depends what he does exactly, but he hasn't been picked up as a coach, right, on the OpTic gaming team or on the Chicago team, for example, which could have been some of his potential targets. Maybe they would have had him if he wanted to, but of course he's considering his options for the upcoming season. Merk potentially could have had a position as like an analyst for a team, of course, a coach, that kind of individual, but probably makes more sense financially for him to stay on as a caster than he was in the last season. Interesting thoughts on Merk back and forth. I thought he was great. I thought he improved a lot throughout the season as well. I do think that maybe Merk may be better placed on an analyst desk than the casting position, but I think he is a really good partnership with Maven, and Maven's a fantastic caster. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves always. Nameless looks like he's going to be there as well. Momo and Miles, I think Miles is fantastic. Also Chance, like this is really the question. So as Eagles Become Vulture says, any news on Benson and Chance? So just in a second here, wanted to have a look at the analysts and the casters that we had in the previous season and what we can expect going forward. So right here, they are 5 that have gone along to the CDL briefing. I guess you wouldn't need to get absolutely everyone along, so of course, they're only going to bring a handful of pros along really relatively. Guess it makes sense to bring a handful of the analyst talent as well. But how many do you really need, right? So you've got events throughout the weekends, but, you know, most of the weekends you've only got, say, 5 actual matches going on. So say you can have, I guess you could have 2 pairs of casters that they would each cast, like, you know, one would cast 2 games, one would cast 3 games. And then you'd have the desk host, which may well continue to be Katie Bedford. I remember she was involved in a stream not too long ago now that was Call of Duty related. So clearly they've still got her in mind. I'd be very surprised if Jess Brohard doesn't come back in the kind of, you know, interviewing position, show stage kind of stuff. And Paradox, of course, being the main observer for the game as well. So that's probably the most likely situation with Jess and Paradox coming back. Not 100% sure on Katie. We don't really know anything for certain right now, but these 5 look kind of locked in. It kind of makes sense in a way, given that Momo and Miles, not being from the States, have in previous seasons got everything sorted with MLG to work in the States full time. So Momo and Miles have got their like visas. I think Miles is living with Maven. Maybe he still is, who knows. But they've got their working visas and stuff to stay in the States. So it makes sense from their perspective that that might be, you know, a good target for Activision to go to. Of course, Benson and Chance, I mean, Benson's got it sorted, I'm pretty sure as well. Like, he's been, of course, in the States for a very long time. Whether they're going to be involved, who knows exactly? Because what exactly do you need in terms of the pure numbers? And Pac-Man's another name, of course, on the analyst desk last season. Study was another one that was there. So let's have a look at these for just a second. Look at these screenshots. So this is the broadcast talent last season during the Pro League. So this was the Pro League analysts, and of course the majority of this season is the Pro League. So this is how many people they had. Of course they had like 4 matches a day. They had 6 casters, 3 analysts, and a desk host. They might go down a similar route with like 10 staple broadcast talent. Maven and Merk, you know, Momo, Miles, and Nameless look like they're going to be in the books. Who else comes into the mix though? Because do you necessarily need many more people than that? Say you've got Maven and Merk and Momo and Miles. Those are your 2 main casting duos. Just send them around the world and have them cast every single weekend. There's not really a necessity to get in any more casters. I'd love it if there was, right? I think Chance is a phenomenal caster. I think he's probably the best caster we have. Hopefully he gets a position this season, but maybe they don't necessarily need 3 pairs of casters. They could survive with 2, but most likely they will go for 3. To be honest, 5 games on a weekend, probably some, you know, definitely some casting duos who want weekends off where they don't have to travel all around the world constantly. That's a route they may take. At the same time, you then look back at Mr. X and Puckett and think, well, you know, what about these guys? Are they going to bring them in for particular events? Say the London event, like would you want to bring in like Brycey and Tarn, something like that, to be a little bit more localized? So, you know, who is going to be the staple talent? That's an interesting question. The analyst desk is really up in the air, right? We've talked about the casters quite a bit. You may well need 6 casters. Maybe the analysts, they're thinking, okay, we'll get Nameless in. We'll try and get, you know, okay, we'll keep Katie as the desk host, say, for example. But maybe we can get Puckett back. We can get Mr. X back. You know, he can start following the game a little bit more. Maybe he can be kind of insightful. We'll have to see the direction they go with future pros. It'd be interesting to see if Pac-Man and Study get their call up to come back as well. This was what it looked like for champs last year, just for example. So, you know, Sideline, Jesper, and Courage were at that event. Of course, you know, Katie as a host, Analysts was the same three, but then the casters were kind of all over the place, given they had so many more matches to attend to. Blaze was there, you know, Bryce, Ton were there, of course, Lando as well, another name, Alicat and Spaceman also, you know, casted this event, mostly for the amateur stuff. So very intriguing to see how this develops going forwards. How many casters do you really need? And then, of course, with the potential of some Overwatch League guys coming over, that really throws a cat amongst the pigeons in terms of who's going to be brought back. Hopefully, we will see these 6. I would hope so. I hope that Brycey and Ton get an opportunity as well. If there are amateur open events dotted around throughout the league, which there most likely will be, in that case, then they will probably need some more casters and, you know, to go and help out with that. Maybe they'll even have their own separate analyst desk for it. That would be really cool if the Dallas Empire, if London, for example, were to put something like that on. But of course, we've got no announcements of that nature yet to see if that actually will happen for the upcoming season. Then you go into champs, it's not going to be the same champs as we've seen before. It's, you know, with the 12 teams, we're not going to have the amateur teams competing against the pro teams at that event, which means you're not going to have a 32-team champs, which means you're not going to need anywhere near as many of the casting talent. So maybe just to save money, you hire 6 casters for the whole season, you know, 3 analysts, but who are the other 2? Maybe you only get 2, and then maybe you rotate in Puckett and, you know, Mr. X. Who knows what will happen for the upcoming season, but definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. Who do you hope gets locked in and confirmed for the upcoming season, and who do you wish would not, given you know, maybe you didn't particularly enjoy their casting in the previous season? Just before we finish the video, then wanted to talk about this Los Angeles Times column from Arash Markazi, well, here it is. So the Los Angeles Guerillas took out #HoodsUp at Rams NFL, and here's the entire team here. So we've got Eggs, of course, Lacefield, Decimate, some of these guys talking to the crowd about you know, being the latest Los Angeles team, and this is the article. So Patrick Aches Price is one of the best Call of Duty players in the world, one of only 5 players to win at least 2 Call of Duty World Championships. He became the first player and captain of the Los Angeles Guerillas, one of LA's 2 teams in the league, which begins the play in January. Interesting to see the Los Angeles Guerillas actually, given that we've talked about their logo and that maybe not so good, maybe their branding isn't so good. These are some great activations to get an article like this published in, you know, what is this, in Los Angeles Times, right? So that's a pretty big deal. And also, of course, attending these events, right? Yes, they have the connections already, but, you know, we would have talked about the OpTic Gaming Los Angeles team probably being the biggest one in terms of branding, but yet it seems that the Guerillas are the ones getting most of the focus being called out. Just before we finish then, Challengers team passes are now available for the Minnesota launch weekend. If you guys want to play, if you guys want to win, $400 for your team, and the coach and the analyst, whatever, will get you a spot. So to keep that in the back of your mind, if you want to be the next OpTic Scumpy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave all your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed, the YouTube algorithm appreciates it, and so do I. I will see you next time.